Alright, just scallywags. So I recently said I was thinking about doing a cheap RGB fan roundup video until I stumbled across these guys. These are the PC Cooler Corona RGB fans. Coronas! No relation to the Mexican alcoholic beverage. But these fans look so good on paper, I figured there was no point in doing a roundup video if these were just gonna blow away the competition. Pun intended, I still got it! So before making said roundup video, I decided to pull the trigger on these and test them out myself. And I gotta say, these are the best budget RGB fans on the market. Hands down, nothing has ever come close or ever will come close, and I definitely won't regret saying those words one day. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but these are seriously great fans. So today I'm gonna tell you all about them and why exactly I think they're so cool. Pun again, oh my god, it must be so great being you watching me. I'm jealous. So that's what's on the agenda today. Let's start by talking about the fan itself, but not before a word from our sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is an amazing source of entertainment, education, and inspiration, all designed to help sharpen your mind and unlock your full potential. It's like overclocking CPU. If the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet isn't enough, Audible Originals offer exclusive audio titles created by celebrated storytellers from all walks of life. Every month, Audible members get 1 credit good for any audiobook they choose, plus 2 Audible Originals from a rotating selection you won't find anywhere else. Visit audible.com/bitwit or text bitwit to 500-500 to start your audiobook adventure. My first listen on Audible is Irresistible by Adam Alter, a fascinating but terrifying piece on the age of behavioral tech addiction. With that said, do not stop watching this YouTube video. Get your first audiobook for free, plus 2 Audible Originals when you try Audible for 30 days. Again, just visit audible.com/bitwit or text bitwit to 500-500. There's absolutely nothing to lose, so in the words of Shia LaBeouf, just do it. And in the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, do it now. Let's talk about the fan. This is the box, there's stuff on the box. These are 120mm PWM fans. They come in a kit of 3 for $36 US, making them $12 a piece. That is how you math, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they used to call me Rain Man. They carry a max airflow of 54.51 CFM, a max fan speed of 1800 RPM, and they're using hydraulic bearings, which promotes longer lifespan and better overall performance. The first thing I noticed when I took these out of the box was just how high quality they look and feel. These don't look like $12 RGB fans. They look like they could be in the $15 to $20, maybe even the $25 range. The plastic housing is super solid. There's no flex to the fan whatsoever. However, you can probably tell that they're on the cheap side based on the side of the fan, just on how it looks. The plastic molding isn't quite as premium looking as, say, your best-in-class Noctua or Corsair fans, for example. Still, I would say they look far from bad and still much better looking than other fans in its price range. Each fan has 9 blades that have this sort of stripe design underneath them, and it looks very similar to like a Be Quiet case fan. If you guys know what I'm talking about there, that's the immediate first thought that I had. And if I remember correctly, Be Quiet uses that design in order to maximize airflow while keeping noise to a minimum. Both sides of the fan have rubber pads on all the corners to reduce operating noise and vibration, and the lighting on the fan itself is actually sort of a ring lighting, kind of like the Thermaltake ring fans that we're familiar with. But these rings are a little skinnier, they're definitely on the thin side, which isn't a bad thing necessarily as long as the lighting looks good. And you can see it's not a complete ring either, but rather it's broken at 4 points along the fan in each of the corners, just to give it more of a stylized appearance, which I think looks pretty good. Now, one aesthetic choice that I could see raising some eyebrows here, because it did so for me, are the corners of the fan. They kind of have this unique concave hollow design that I could see not everyone being into. I really didn't like them in pictures, and even in person it took a while for them to grow on me. But eventually I came around and became a fan. We have 2 cables coming off of each fan, both of which are sleeved in black, which is very much appreciated. We have a 4-pin PWM connection. This is fantastic. A lot of RGB fans in the $30 to $40 price range do not have 4-pin PWM connections. Rather, they have some proprietary plug that goes into a proprietary included fan controller or hub that if the hub dies, you can't plug it into a motherboard, for example. Whereas this, you can. The other cable terminates to a 3-pin connector for RGB goodness, and this is where we can get into accessories. So included is an adapter that you connect your fans to, and that adapter terminates to a 5-volt 3-pin addressable RGB connector that you can connect to your motherboard, assuming it has the header, or you can plug it into the included RGB controller that has mode, speed, and color selection. Unfortunately, it is Molex powered, which is the worst possible thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm probably being dramatic, but it's not as good as SATA. Most people already have a few free SATA ports in their system, so requiring Molex just forces some users to have to dig up a Molex cable, plug it into their system. It's a pain in the ass. You suck, Molex, you suck! Finally, you also get a VDG adapter so that you can plug this into a gigabyte board that supports VDG headers because they're weird, and there's a 3-way 4-pin PWM splitter so that you can plug all 3 fans into a single motherboard header if you want. Now let's start talking about performance. I actually tested these fans inside of a system that I had very recently built for a case review actually. It was for the Fractal Design Define S2 Vision RGB case, which you should check that review out if you haven't yet. But the rig I built in that video is the one I'm using for all of today's testing. And that system features a Ryzen 7 1700. Yes, I know, I'm so old school. That's overclocked to 4 GHz on all 8 of its cores, so we have a fixed frequency that doesn't fluctuate or give any variance in our testing. Cooling our CPU is the Asus ROG Ryujin 360mm liquid AIO, featuring 3 of those fancy NOCTUA NFF12 IPPC 120mm fans. It's also worth noting that I mounted the radiator at the top. The motherboard is the Asus ROG Crosshair 7, and that's being paired with 16 gigs of G.Skill Trident Z RGB DDR4 3200 speed, along with an Asus ROG Strix RTX 2080. Bear in mind, while the CPU is overclocked, our GPU is running fully stock for all of today's tests. And oh yeah, we should also talk about the fans. That's important in a fan video. So there's the 3 Noctua fans that are being set to exhaust at the top of the case as part of the AIO, and then we have 4 of the Prisma fans from Fractal Design that came included with the Vision, the S2 Vision case. So we've got 4 140mm Prisma fans at the front, and then 1 more at the back for exhaust. All those fans are connected to the Nexus fan hub that came included with the S2 Vision case, and that's what we'll be connecting our Corona fans to as well for today's tests. Now I ran 2 major tests here, one for airflow and one for static pressure. So I tested these both as case fans and radiator fans just to see how well rounded they are. For the airflow test, I benchmarked these fans against the 3 Prisma fans that are at the front of the case. So I actually did a 10-minute run of GTA 5 at 2560 by 1440 max settings across the board with the Prisma fans initially, and then I swapped them out for the Coronas and ran the exact same test before checking our CPU and GPU temps. What I found was I don't have those numbers pulled up. Let me just double check, sorry. Okay, so with our Prisma fans, our Ryzen 7 1700 got up to 59.8 degrees Celsius, and the Corona RGB fans resulted in a maximum CPU temperature of 60 degrees C. So more or less identical. That's 0.2 degrees, certainly within margin of error. The RTX 2080 got up to 58C under the cool breeze of the Fractal Prisma fans, and we hit a max of 59C with the Coronas. So again, extremely close results here. Very impressive when you consider that the Prisma fans are 140mm as opposed to 120 on the Coronas. The next logical question is, how loud did these fans get compared to the Prismas under load? Now's your chance to flex those big, beautiful ears of yours with a sound test. Imperceptible is a word that I would use to describe the difference in sound that these fans delivered compared to the Prismas. I really could not tell a difference whether I was gaming or listening to the test that you just heard. In the second benchmark, I tested for static pressure, where I pitted these fans up against the BITBOI Noctuas on our Asus ROG Ryujin 360 AIO. And what I found was, holy moly, same temperatures again. This is again after the same 10-minute run in GTA 5 at all the same settings. 60.9 degrees C for our Noctuas versus 61C with the Coronas. This was truly surprising because these are first and foremost advertised as case fans, although on their product page, I do believe they say that they can be used for static pressure optimized environments as well. But a lot of case manufacturers say that. It doesn't mean it's necessarily true or that the fans work well in those environments. So I was very surprised to see that these are competing performance-wise, or thermal-wise I should say, with much more expensive Noctuas. That being said, there is still the noise factor, so let's take a listen to our second sound test. I don't know how well you could hear, but I could definitely tell that the Noctua fans were noticeably quieter than our fan of the hour. I could even see the difference in volume level between the two fans using the decibel meter in Adobe Premiere Pro. Having said that, these fans are still super quiet in practice. I mean, it literally took me wearing really nice headphones with a $1,000 microphone positioned 6 inches away from the fans in order to hear the difference between these and the Noctuas. I mean, I'm not sure what else to say here because the benchmarks really speak for themselves in the fact that these are performing on par thermally wise with other fans from well-known brands that are much more costly. They've also proven themselves to be acoustically sound, so you're not just getting cool, but quiet operation as well. After seeing the raw performance of these fans, I honestly could care less about the RGB. But sure enough, the RGB is impressive too. I mean, very rich, bright, vibrant colors. They all transition smoothly, no hotspots whatsoever. For the record, I did test it out with both the included controller and with Asus Aura Sync plugged in directly to the Crosshair 7 motherboard, and everything worked without a hitch. I think that's all I have to say. At the same time, I cannot say enough about these fans and how impressed they've left me. So guys, if you want a link, I'll put it down below if you want to find out more. 36 bucks, 12 bucks a pop, unbeatable. Speaking of unbeatable, if you think that these fans can be beat by another budget RGB fan option in the $30 to $40 price range, leave the name down below in the comments and maybe we'll have a duel. We'll have a full-on bloodbath. Okay, this thing has 9 blades. It will cut you. Guys, thank you for watching this video. Toss a like on it before you go if you enjoyed it, and get subscribed for the Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Fan.